It's happening. Oh, baby, it's happening. Many high-term time frame setups starting to emerge out of the shadows as Bitcoin does play at the low-term time frame setups to the top side of the $27,000 range. Big focus of today, of course. And before we get into it, of course, I would like to welcome you back. I'd also like to speak proper English to the Krown Crypto channel. It's a lovely Tuesday morning over here, bright and sunny in Helsinki, Finland, which is rather nice, but you don't give a fuck about that. You give a fuck about price action analysis, which we're about to get into in a second. However, first and foremost, I do want to let you know that you can still get the Joolite free for the first 30 days if you follow the directions in the link in the description below. And then there's also an affiliate link to the decentralized exchange Apex, which is actually starting to become rather attractive as volume does start to pick up. I mean, the exchange is actually starting to become quite liquid, so it does seem to be one of the better decentralized exchange alternatives, and I just figured that I'd let you know because we can also give you, or not we, but Bybit or Apex, whatever the hell it is, will give you 5% off of your trading fees if you use that link in the description below as well. All right, sweet. So let's just jump right into it. Let's start off right in over here. This one's kind of difficult to figure out where I should start it off, but you know, let's start it off with something nice and simple and easy. And what do you know? On the 5-day time frame, we did just see a closure last night, and hidden bullish divergence has been confirmed on that last closure, alongside a nice bullish engulfing dildo right here, completed as it did trade below the low of the prior and then closed above the wick high of the prior as well. So looking pretty damn good right there. This can also lead into a CME, a little bit more obvious one right here. To be fair, hidden bullish evidence drive as well, but I suspect that that's a little bit more of a formality as Bitcoin does find its balancing point basically above that $25,000 number that we were looking at more or less last week. Anyways, moving on now, I do want to once again go back to one of yesterday's ideas, which was the 5-day time frame stochastic momentum oscillator trend line, this regression that's been kind of holding up the lows since July of 2022, and you can see that it's connected with this low right here, this low right here, this low right here, and potentially this low right here as well, as thus far Bitcoin is bouncing off that level. And what's very important about this is that the current pivot, or the next pivot, as again this one just had a fresh closure, has moved down from 27,000 bucks, which Bitcoin's actually at right now, to 26,600. So that number's moving down. Bitcoin's actually above that number right now as well. So another good sign, as it does potentially get another major low off that regression, correlated with these last prior lows over here. Now these prior lows did produce some decent bounces within the heart of a pretty nasty bear market. One of them was, like the low thus far. So it'd be very, very interesting to see how things do kind of work out from this next, couple periods. If we start to see this one continue to remain above that pivot, pretty damn good signal. If it does fail below, then obviously we have a failure of that overall regression and big downs. But for right now, favoring the Bulas, as we did say yesterday. Of course, this is also in conjunction with what we saw over here. Definitely my least favorite form of analysis, but it's actually quite relevant in this case, which is the falling pizza, falling channel, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Depends how you kind of draw it in this case, but I'd say this is more of a channel, to be fair, which do have about a low 60% probability to break out to the upside rather than the downside. And you can see that Bitcoin did make a nice move to the top side of that range, of that formation on CME, which was that 27,250-ish tick or so. What's more interesting about this, however, is that because it is a formation, we can have an implied move if it does start to clear and close above the topside boundary, which I would say, if you want to be super, if you want to be, what's the word that I'm looking for? What's English? I don't know. Let's just go to a full face view of me. Hello, sir. No, it's a little bit more clear in this case that if we can see a closure above that 27,500-ish region, then yes, I would look at this as resolved, and there would be an implied move. In this case, basically to the top side of that pizza, somewhere around about 31,000 bucks or so, which can obviously lead to bigger moves over time, as we'll maybe go over a little bit later. But for right now, I do want to kind of zero in on this, that yes, if you do start to see Bitcoin on CME close above that region, again 27,500, that would be a damn good indication that we'll very likely see a move back up to the April highs. There probably will be stops along the way, maybe around 29,000 or 29.5 or so. or even like mid 28s. But ultimately, somewhere around there would kind of make sense in this case, as Bitcoin does put in proverbially the next major low if that were to happen. But I'll go back to a regular pizza face view over here, and what we can do now is we can go over the HPDR ranges. Or actually, before we go over the HPDR ranges, let's actually go over some a little bit more fun for the time being. And this is another daily Joule setup. It's actually kind of going hand in hand with the one that we looked at on Ethereum. This was maybe 3 days ago, or two or 3 days ago now, where we're looking at a major daily Joule setup for Ethereum. And in this case, Bitcoin has one going on as of actually a few days ago now. This one theoretically fired off. Yeah, this one theoretically fired off 26. This was on Friday, actually. Yeah, last Friday, 26,350 or so. Anyways, what essentially is the setup? Well, anytime that we do see that the daily Joule gets below this 35 read or so right here, coupled with the PMARP being below 50 percentile in this case, and also trading on very specific days, we can see that the strategy tester over the past 30 possible iterations, so this goes throughout the full history of Bitcoin actually, has had a slightly better than 50% probability to produce a nice upside move. When I say a nice upside move, I mean like a pretty fucking significant one, as we're going to go after. So first things first, this is just slightly better than a fucking coin toss. So it's not super high probability, and it's not super high amount of total closed trades, obviously, because this really only happens so many times. But when we go into the performance summary, I do think that this one warrants some interest, because we can see that the average winning trade here, all right, you actually can't see because my face is in the way, but the average winning trade, this is pretty fucking crazy, but was shown, over those trades was 45% average return. By contrast, the average losing trade was about negative 18% or so. So, it is rather in favor of the long side here, obviously, even as a coin flip, that is still pretty attractive probabilities and returns as far as I'm concerned. But looking at the numbers right now, what would that look like on top of current price action? Well, I need to get enough space here, I think. What would 40% off of 40% plus that price look like? That would put Bitcoin like $38,000 or so, which is actually in alignment with one of the long-term targets based off of potential 6-month not regular. Was it regular? Let's actually see. It was 6-month hidden bullish evidence, I do believe. Yeah, it should be hidden bullish evidence. Let me just double check over here. Yeah, obviously it has to be hidden bullish evidence. But 6-month hidden bullish evidence, which will be confirmed at the end of this month, actually, assuming that Bitcoin basically just closes above the last 6-month high, which is 25,200. So far so good, as Bitcoin's nearly $2,000 above that current level, with 10 days left to go in the trading month plus 6-month time frame. So strengthening into the end of that, pretty damn good signal. And $38,000, not so crazy. A Fiboswani target as well. And I actually just spoke with him, not yesterday, but the day before. And he said that, game's still on. His analysis is unchanged as of right now. We'll bring him back, obviously, when there's something new to update, of course, as he's a good friend. But just to, let a lot of people who have been asking no, there's been no change. There's been no change. None of his major failure conditions have been met, and, still game on for that. So rather interesting right there. Anyways, yes, so we've got that. Let's now go into the HPDR indicator over here. Daily, still the same thing as yesterday. Obviously, we got the bounce off the low side of the range, now playing at the average of the range at $27,000. I said that's sort of like the next boss, if you will. If Bitcoin can close above $27,000, I'd be looking for that next move up on spot price action, somewhere into the mid 27s, deeper 27s, and potentially that would resolve the falling channel, falling pizza, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that we looked at earlier. So the next sort of the next boss, yeah, good. it's all a game, my friends. It's all a fucking game. All this magic internet money shit is just a game. It's just a game that you can actually make money off of or lose everything, which is completely fine as well. Anyways, yeah, so within the context of that, I should go over some lower term time frame failure conditions for the current rally. Very obviously, it would be below 26,700. Sorry, did I say 700? 26,300. 26,300, even on like a lower term time frame closing basis. Until then, this move, this would be the time that Bula's probably take over. And then we can go through stochastic momentum as well, which do I even have one up here? Let me just see. Oh yeah, I do. Here we go. So let's start off with the 2-day time frame. 2-day time frame continues to remain upside angled as long as Bitcoin's above 26,300. Daily time frame is also gonna be upside angle, kind of freshly on CME, even playing out another trend line regression right here as well, getting these last few lows since March actually, as long as Bitcoin's above 25,400. So got some nice leeway right there. 12-hour time frame also vertical above 25,300. 6-hour time frame getting way up there. So do we see a pullback relatively soon? Definitely possible in the medium term time frames, but momentum remains the upside above 27,000. 4-hour time frame will probably be twisting down. It is actually down right now below 27,100. So again, short-term corrections, not out of the question here. And hourly will twist back down below 27,100 as well. So short and medium-term time frames looking a little bit more, what's the word that I'm looking for? Exhausted. But higher-term time frames, looking like they want to carry on with the rally. So maybe a short-term time frame consolidation. The real question or the real concern would be that the consolidation just does not come back down and violate 26,300. That's where things start to change back around. So yeah, with all of that said, looks like some of these are starting to play out. It's been taking a lot of fucking patience, and will probably take a lot more patience as well. I completely forgot to go over here with this potential Joule setup, because people are probably gonna think that this happens tomorrow. No, what's the average amount of times taken for the winning trades? I should go over that. 55 days, 55 fucking days. So get ready for, close to 2 months, basically. So what would that say? It'd say that Bitcoin, continues on with the overall rally throughout, July, maybe a bit of August as well. If that one is going to play out, and what would be a failure condition on this one? Failure condition would be below last week's low, actually, and at that point, probably looking at 20% to the downside, and 21,000 bucks would still be in the cards. So yeah, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off. As always, I want to wish you the best of best. It's been an absolute pleasure on this lovely Tuesday or whatever day morning. Yeah, I'll be signing off on that note. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.